The planet Varkesh was not a kind world. The sky was always red from smoke. The ground shook often from the heat below. Rivers of lava moved slowly, like glowing snakes across the dark land. And in the center of the largest alien city stood a giant arena made of black stone. They called it the Pit of Ash. Thousands of aliens filled the seats around the pit. Their scales shimmered under the burning light. Their 4 glowing eyes watched the center with excitement. Today was Sacrifice Day. But today's sacrifice was different. 2 tall alien guards dragged a human across the stone floor.
His hands were tied behind his back. His clothes were torn.
There was dried blood on his forehead. His name was Commander Elias Rook. He did not beg. He did not scream. He simply looked around. The alien high priest raised his staff. His voice echoed through the arena. Today, we offer this outsider to the great flame. Let the dragon feed. Let our skies remain safe. The crowd cheered loudly. The guards pushed Rook to the edge of a deep hole in the center of the arena. Heat rushed up from below. It felt like standing over an open furnace. Without warning, they shoved him in. Rook fell. Hot air burned his skin as he dropped. He hit the ground hard and rolled across black sand. For a moment, he stayed still, catching his breath. Then, he slowly stood up. The pit was massive. Tall stone walls rose high above him. At the far end was a cave opening glowing orange from inside. Smoke drifted out like a living thing. Rook wiped blood from his eyebrow and looked at the cave. "So that's where you are," he muttered. The ground trembled. A deep sound filled the air. Not a roar, not yet. It was something lower, something ancient. The dragon stepped out. It was enormous. Its body was covered in thick black scales. Each step cracked the stone beneath its claws. Its wings stretched wide, almost touching both sides of the pit. Flames flickered between its teeth as it breathed. The crowd above went silent. The dragon lowered its massive head and stared at the human. Rook felt the heat from its breath, even from far away. Most beings would freeze in fear. He did not. Instead, he watched it with left wing moved slightly slower than the right. He noticed scars along its neck. He watched how it shifted its weight before taking a step. The dragon let out a thunderous roar. Fire shot into the sky, lighting up the red smoke above. Still, the human did not run. The dragon moved first. It charged forward, faster than something that size should move. At the last second, Rook sprinted sideways. The dragon's claws slammed into the ground where he had been standing. Stone exploded into the air. The crowd gasped. Rook did not stop moving. He ran toward a tall stone pillar near the wall. The heat burned his lungs, but he forced himself to breathe slowly. Think. Observe. Survive. The dragon turned quickly and swiped its tail. The tail smashed into the pillar. The stone cracked but did not fall. Rook looked up. The pillars were old. Heat had weakened them for years. They were not strong. An idea formed in his mind. The dragon roared again and opened its mouth. Fire burst toward him. Rook dove behind the cracked pillar. Flames wrapped around it. The stone began to break apart. The dragon moved closer, ready to finish its prey. But Rook did something unexpected.
He ran toward the dragon. The crowd shouted in shock.
The dragon paused for a tiny second, confused. Prey runs away. This one ran forward. Rook slid under the dragon's neck as it snapped its jaws. He grabbed a broken piece of sharp stone from the ground and slashed at the dragon's wounded wing joint. The blade did almost nothing, but the dragon felt it. It roared in anger and pain. Rook rolled away just before the claws came down. Dust filled the air. The pillar behind them finally collapsed with a loud crash, sending debris everywhere. From above, the alien rulers leaned forward in disbelief. This was not supposed to happen. The sacrifice was fighting back. In the pit below, covered in ash and sweat, Elias Rook stood once more. Across from him, the giant dragon spread its wings again. This time, Its eyes were different. It was no longer looking at food. It was looking at a challenge. And the real battle had only just begun. The dragon was no longer careless. It did not rush again. It circled slowly, smoke rising from its mouth. Its massive eyes stayed locked on Elias Rook. The fire inside them was no longer only hunger. It was awareness. Rook stood still for a moment, breathing hard. His ribs hurt every time he inhaled. His left arm felt weak from the fall. Sweat ran down his face and mixed with ash. He knew something important now. The dragon could learn. That made it more dangerous. Above them, the alien crowd had grown quiet. They expected the human to die quickly. Instead, they were watching something they had never seen before. Prey that refused to act like prey. The dragon moved again, but this time it was careful. It stepped to the side, cutting off Rook's path to the walls. Its tail dragged slowly behind it, blocking escape. It was hurting him, Rook noticed. "You're smart," he whispered. The dragon suddenly opened its mouth and released a wave of fire. Not a quick blast, but a wide sweep that rolled across the arena floor like a burning storm. Rook ran. The heat chased him. Flames licked at his back. He jumped over fallen stones and slid behind another cracked pillar just as the fire swallowed the ground where he had stood. The pillar shook from the heat. Rook looked up at it. Cracks spread across its surface. An idea began to grow in his mind. The dragon stopped breathing fire and lifted its head. It watched the smoke clear. It expected to see a burned body. Instead, Rook stepped out from behind the pillar. The dragon growled low. Rook grabbed a loose stone from the ground and threw it hard at the dragon's face. The rock bounced harmlessly off its scales. But that was not the point. The dragon charged in anger. Heavy steps shook the arena. The dragon aimed straight for him. Rook waited. Closer. Closer. At the last second, he ran toward the damaged pillar again. The dragon slammed into it. The pillar shattered. Massive blocks of stone crashed down onto the dragon's back and wings. Dust exploded into the air. The crowd shouted in shock. When the dust settled, the dragon was still standing, but now it was angry. Very angry. Blood trickled from a cut near its eye. One of its wings bent slightly at a painful angle. It roared so loudly that the sound hurt Rook's ears. Then, it did something different. It stopped using fire. Instead, it used its body. The dragon moved faster than before. It swung its tail low and hard. The tail hit Rook across the chest and threw him across the arena. He crashed into the stone wall. Pain shot through his body. For a moment, he could not breathe. The world went blurry. The dragon did not rush this time. It walked slowly toward him, step by step. It wanted him to feel fear. Rook forced himself to stand. His legs shook. Blood ran from his lip.
Every breath burned. He looked around quickly.
Most of the pillars were now broken. Large pieces of stone were scattered everywhere. The ground had cracks from the dragon's weight. Then he saw it. Near the center of the arena, half buried in ash, was something metal. It was long, sharp, and not from this time. The dragon noticed where he was looking. For the first time, it hesitated. Rook slowly moved toward the object. The dragon let out a warning growl.
That was strange.
Why would a creature this powerful fear anything? Rook reached the object and pulled it free from the ash. It was an old harpoon, huge, heavy, made from alien metal. Its tip was blackened, like it had once been burned deep into something very hot.
The dragon looked at the weapon, and suddenly Rook understood.
This was not the dragon's first battle in this pit. Someone had heard it before. Someone had tried to kill it. The dragon roared again, but this roar was different. There was anger in it, but also pain. Rook tightened his grip on the harpoon. "You're not just their monster," he said quietly. The dragon lowered its head and spread its wings wide. Fire flickered between its teeth again, brighter than before. The arena floor cracked beneath its claws. Above them, the alien rulers shifted nervously in their high seats. They had never seen the dragon react this way. In the pit below, human and dragon faced each other once more. But now, it was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a fight with history. And Rook was holding the key to it. The arena was silent. Elias Rook stood in the center of the pit, holding the ancient harpoon tightly in both hands. The metal felt heavy, but not just in weight. It felt important. Across from him, the giant dragon did not attack. It stared at the weapon. Its breathing became slower. Smoke curled from its nostrils, but the fire in its mouth did not burst out this time. It was watching. Above them, the alien crowd shifted nervously. This was not the kind of battle they were used to. The sacrifice was still alive. The dragon was not finishing it. Something was wrong. Rook took one careful step forward. The dragon growled low, but it did not charge. Another step. The dragon's left wing trembled slightly. That same injured side. Rook remembered the way it moved earlier, the way it protected that part of its body. He looked at the harpoon again. The tip of it was dark and burned, but along the side were strange alien markings, old symbols. This weapon had been made for one purpose: to hurt something very big, very powerful. Rook slowly circled to the dragon's left side. The dragon's body tensed. Fire flickered again between its teeth. Brighter now. Easy, Rook said softly, though he knew it could not understand his words. Or maybe it could. The air felt heavy. The heat from the lava cracks made everything shimmer. Rook saw it clearly now. Under the dragon's thick black scales, just below the left wing joint, something metal was buried deep inside its flesh. The same metal as the harpoon in his hands. The dragon had been struck before, and the weapon had never been removed. The dragon suddenly roared, but the roar was not only anger, it was pain. The sound shook the arena walls. The crowd gasped. Some of the alien leaders stood up from their high seats, whispering quickly to each other. They did not like this direction. They did not like the human being this close to the truth. Rook moved closer anyway. The dragon raised one massive claw. It could crush him in 1 second, but it did not strike. Instead, its eyes locked onto his. For one long moment, everything else faded. The noise, the crowd, the heat. There was something in the dragon's eyes that Rook did not expect. Not hunger, not rage, but suffering. Slowly, carefully, Rook lifted the harpoon and pressed its tip against the old metal wound. A deep sound rumbled in its chest, and then something happened that no one expected. Rook felt it inside his mind. A sudden rush of images. Flames across cities. Chains made of energy. Large machines in the sky. Aliens, the same species watching from above, standing over a younger dragon, forcing it into battle. The dragon was not born in this pit. It was made for war. Created. Controlled. Used as a weapon. Rook staggered back, breathing hard. The images were strong. Emotional. Angry. The dragon had not been fed sacrifices for honor. It had been kept alive for fear. The alien rulers needed the dragon. It kept their people afraid, and fear kept them in control. The dragon lowered its head, closer to Rook. More images flashed into his mind. Pain, loneliness, a century trapped inside this arena. Forced to kill again and again. Rook looked up at the alien rulers above. Now he understood. This was never about worship. It was about power. He looked back at the dragon. Slowly, he dropped the harpoon to the ground. The crowd gasped loudly. Why would he drop his only weapon? The dragon blinked. Rook stepped closer to the wounded area. The metal shard still buried inside the dragon's flesh was old and cracked. Carefully, he reached out his hand. The dragon tensed again. But it did not attack. Rook grabbed the broken piece of ancient metal and pulled with all his strength. The dragon screamed. The sound was powerful enough to shake dust from the arena walls. For a moment, Rook thought it might kill him after all, but then the metal came free. It clattered to the ground. Dark blood flowed from the wound, but the dragon's body seemed lighter somehow. Its wings slowly spread. The fire in its mouth burned brighter than ever before.
But this fire was different. It was not aimed at the human.
It was aimed upward. At the rulers. At the ones who had chained it above. Panic spread quickly through the high seats. Guards rushed forward. Energy shields flickered on. In the pit below, Elias Rook stood beside the giant dragon. No longer prey. No longer alone. The dragon lifted its massive head toward the sky. And for the first time in centuries, it chose its own target. The dragon spread its massive wings, sending a wave of heat and ash over the pit. The stone floor cracked under its weight. Smoke spiraled up into the alien sky. Elias Rook stood tall beside it, with hales, scorched, bleeding, and exhausted. But he had not broken. His chest rose and fell rapidly, but his mind was clear. Above them, the alien rulers screamed orders, but their guards froze. The dragon was alive and furious, and it was no longer their puppet. Rook climbed carefully onto the dragon's back. The scales were hot but firm beneath his hands. The beast's wings flexed, testing him. The dragon seemed to sense his courage, his resolve, and it accepted him, not as a rider, but as an ally. "Let's finish this," Rook whispered. With a powerful beat, the dragon launched into the sky. Lava smoke swirled beneath them, turning the arena into a storm of fire and ash. Above, the alien crowd screamed in terror, some throwing themselves from the stands to escape. Others could not look away. The rulers scrambled. Their floating platform shook as guards fired energy weapons, but the dragon's thick scales deflected the blasts effortlessly. Rook leaned forward, gripping the beast's neck, pointing toward the glowing spires that powered the city's defense grid. The dragon roared and exhaled a massive stream of fire. Energy lines sizzled and snapped. Power generators exploded in a chain reaction, sending sparks into the sky like fireworks. Panic spread. Systems failed. Defense drones fell from orbit like shooting stars. From above, reinforcements approached. Alien ships armed with missiles. But the dragon turned toward them, wings slicing the air like blades. It breathed fire in arcs, melting armor and engines. The ships swerved and fell back. Rook's mind raced. The dragon was powerful, yes, but it still needed guidance. He gave it small, careful commands, pointing, leaning, signaling. The creature obeyed, trusting him instinctively. Together, they moved with precision. The city's strongest defenses crumbled under their combined will. Finally, the ruling council attempted escape, firing energy beams directly at the pit. The dragon roared. Its wings created gusts strong enough to knock guards off their feet. Rook shouted, and the dragon exhaled a concentrated jet of fire, melting the council's escape platform. They fell into the chaos below. The city went silent. Smoke and fire filled the sky. Streets were broken. Lava and shattered stone covered the ground. The aliens had never seen such destruction, or such freedom. The dragon landed in the center of the arena, spreading its wings wide. Its eyes glowed with pride, but also with exhaustion. Rook slid off its back and stood in the center of the pit. The aliens stared, trembling. They had come to see a sacrifice, a human crushed by a monster. Instead, they saw a human standing tall, beside the dragon, commanding power they could not control. One by one, the alien guards dropped their weapons. The rulers were left alone, exposed. No magic, no machines, no fear could save them now. Rook raised his hand. "This ends now," he said. His voice echoed across the broken city. "No more sacrifices. No more fear. Choose freedom, or face the same fate as your chains." The dragon roared, not as a monster, but as a liberated force of nature. Lava from the pit hissed and spread. Flames licked the stone walls. The sound of collapse and destruction filled the air. For the first time, humanity's reputation on Varkesh and across the stars changed. Humans were not weak. They were not easy to break. They could face monsters, outthink them, and even turn them into allies. The alien population watched in awe. Some knelt, some ran, some simply stared, unsure what to do with the new reality. Fear had been replaced by wonder and respect. Rook looked at the dragon. Its wings were torn, its body bleeding, but its spirit was unbroken. He patted its side gently. "Together," he said. "Always together." The dragon lowered its head, smoke curling from its nostrils, and roared one last time. The sound carried across the city, across the planet, a warning to anyone who thought humans could be controlled or underestimated. From that day forward, the story spread across the stars. Do not throw a human into the pit. Do not underestimate them. Because the human may not only survive, they may rise, and they may bring the fire with them. The pit of ash became empty. The dragon soared into the sky, free at last, and humanity, for the first time on this alien world, had allies no one could challenge. Elias Rook stood tall, scorched, tired, bleeding, but victorious. Not because he was the strongest, not because he was the fastest, but because he was human. And humans never give up.